Folks, my next guest tonight is the chairperson of the Human Rights Foundation and widow of the late Russian activist Alexei Navalny. She has vowed to continue his work and is here to discuss his memoir, Patriot. Please welcome to The Late Show, Yulia Navalnaya. It's an honor to have you here, and our sympathies are with you and your family for the loss of your husband. Your late husband was the political prisoner, Alexei Navalny. He died in February of this year. For those of you who don't know, who was he? What was his work? And why to him was that worth this sacrifice?
First of all, good evening, and thank you for having me. It's a great honor and it's a great pleasure to be here tonight. Once, Time magazine called my husband the man Vladimir Putin fears. I think
they called him the man Putin feared. Okay.
Yes, and I think that it's great and right description of my husband. My husband was a leader of Russian opposition. My husband was the future president of Russia, democratic Russia. My husband was political prisoner #1. And the most important, he was my beloved husband and father of my children.
Here you are. Here are the two of you together, right there. My understanding, I understand that the two of you never spoke of you taking up his work. Following his death. But after his death in February of this year, you decided to pick up the torch. Why, especially given the price that your husband had to pay for his beliefs? Why is it important for you to continue this job?
It's very simple to explain. As you said, he had beliefs, and I have beliefs as well. And I think that it's very important to show that if even the leader is killed, because my husband was not just a husband for me or a friend, he was a leader of the opposition movement to Vladimir Putin. And it was very important for me to show people that even this personal tragedy in my life, I don't afraid, and we need to continue our work, and we need to fight against Putin's regime, and it's very important. That's why I decided to step to this role, and of course it's very tough. It changed my life a lot, and I miss my husband a lot, but still I think it's very important.
One of the last messages that he gave to people one of the last messages that people heard from him, and it's part of the documentary about his life and his work, is that if he is killed, it means that Putin's regime is weak, that they're afraid. It means that there is strength in the opposition, or else they wouldn't need to try to eliminate him. We're 2 weeks away from the election here in the United States. Do you worry about the United States electing a new president who is fine with Putin's behavior?
I still believe in American democratic institutions, and I think the Americans will do the right choice.
Being from a country and being someone who is fighting for democracy, for the power of the people, do you ever get frustrated seeing countries that take their democracy for granted?
Well, great question.
Yes.
I all the time a little bit jealous, of course, when I see that to the countries like yours or European countries. And it's great that you have democracy. And of course, I understand sometimes that it looks like you take it as it's granted. Because, as you know, we are living in the authoritarian regime. And every year, a lot of new countries become more and more under tyranny. And it's very important for democratic countries and for the free world to help these countries and to support them in many different ways.
While your husband was in prison, he wrote a memoir, Patriot. What do you hope this book shows about who he was, not just as a political figure, but as a person, as your husband, the man you loved, and the loving father of your children?
Right. You said the most things. It's very important in this book, and it's shown well that my husband was everything. He was leader of opposition. He was father of my children. He was, as I said, my beloved husband, but also he was very funny man.
He kept his sense of humor up even in this Arctic prison. He went on a hunger strike at one point, and it says he joked about not getting a six-pack after a hunger strike. He joked that if he was killed there, it would be great for book sales. Why do you make of his ability to laugh in the darkest of times, or is that just quintessentially Russian?
I would say it was his superpower to be optimistic and to give this power to laugh in these moments to all the people around. And it was great. And I knew that he was in really torturing conditions in this prison, really in bad conditions. And from time to time, it's not about hunger strike, but still, he was starving. It wasn't enough food. Could you imagine in prison, wherever in 21st century, a person is starving in prison. And still, despite of all the things, he was very optimistic and laughing at people around, these prisoner guards, and at himself.
Your family has been through so much. You yourself Putin has ordered your arrest. I'm sure you have concerns about the vengeful nature of this regime. What keeps you going every day?
A lot of things. First of all, I want democratic changes in my country. Second, I want to come back to Russia because Russia is my home.
What do you miss most about Russia?
Everything. I was born in Russia. I lived all my life in Russia, so I'm dreaming to come back. And of course, also the memory of my husband moves me.
Well, Yulia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Alexei Navalny's memoir, Patriot, is available tomorrow. Yulia Navalnaya, everybody. We'll be right back.